couple with a brick, brew and a friend, bleed orange and blue to the bitter end. Come and join us, DNVR. We are DNVR.
Welcome into the DNVR Broncos Winners Lounge. Let's go! And let me just...
Boom.
That's the sound of a dominant win. And boys, let me just say, first of all, excuse my language if there are any kids watching.
Earmuffs.
Put the earmuffs on. What a fucking game.
An incredible beatdown. A beatdown. Guys, honestly, a 30-point beatdown. I don't care about those last two drives. Don't mean anything at all in my mind. And guys, the Broncos were 10-point underdogs. They essentially beat the spread by 40 points when it mattered.
Unbelievable performance. And quickly, got to get a shout out to our presenting sponsor, MSU Denver Online, before we get into all of the great things that come from this game. But msudenver.edu/online is where you can go to scope out all they have to offer. If you're looking to maintain a full-time job while getting an education, go over there because their students go through twice as many hours as students attending any other college institution.
You're flustered.
So I'm
Maybe
just
you need
caught
to go
up
to
in the
MSU
vibes.
Denver.
I do.
Get flustered.
I do need to go to MSU Denver. Check them out and support them as they support us. All right, boys.
And really quick, everyone tuning in on Twitter, we really appreciate it. Hop over to YouTube. Hit us when you're when you're there. We'd really appreciate it. And, of course, get in the comment section. This should be the most fun pod that we've had, guys.
Yeah, let's have a party.
Yeah,
everyone crack a beer.
Yep.
Enjoy yourselves.
We still got more football later tonight, too.
I know. I love
watch more AFC West teams lose.
I love morning
I hadn't even
games.
realized. I feel like it's nighttime right now.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm getting ready to eat dinner and go to bed.
I'm ready for some coffee, too. Just keep going.
I've got mine.
Guys,
I need it.
This was so unexpected, and I can't toot my horn too much. But one thing, because I didn't predict the win, but one thing I did say is you just may see the Broncos play their most inspired game of football they have all year. Sometimes these little changes, these little things free up other guys to feel like they have the power to step up. And that is absolutely what happened today. We'll get into our biggest takeaways here.
Real quick, Henry did call it
on
the tailgate. He said the
Henry
Broncos
always
would
calls the
win.
Broncos.
I get my weekly whatever boost.
I
And you
just
have to
want it to
spin
be
the wheel.
known.
I got a 25% boost for the week. I put it on the Broncos money line and I maxed it out.
Boom.
Let's go.
Boom.
That's a lot of money that I made today. That's a lot of money that I made
some
today.
stacks.
Yes, I did.
I also took the Broncos money line after the tailgate because that's just the kind of effect that being on the tailgate has on you. But let me just get into our major takeaways here. And I mentioned how sometimes when certain players leave or certain coaches leave, it opens up an opportunity for different guys to step up. And what a shining light for the future of the Denver Broncos today, that Javonte Williams steps up, that Jerry Jeudy steps up, that Caden Stern steps up, that Jonathan Cooper, man.
Yeah. Everyone,
this dude
just keep
is
going
a
down the
player.
line.
You keep going down the list, but man, you start hitting all these names and it's young guy. Teddy Bridgewater, young guy. Justin Simmons, who's kind of still a young guy. And for this to happen in this day, the first game after letting go of the face of the franchise, has to have Broncos fans excited, has to have everyone excited about what the future of this team could look like.
Absolutely, and what a day for George Paton, guys. Just 5 days after trading away Von Miller, and then he gets up on the podium and says, I'm still focused on this season. We're 4-4. It feels like we're 1-7. We're still right in the thick of it, and everyone, understandably so, trolls him. Just saying he's just lying to us. You just trade your best player away. There's no way that you are still in it for this season. Guys, at 5-4, half a game out of the playoffs, the Broncos are absolutely still in it. And then on top of that for George Paton, Ryan, it's not only young guys, it's his guys that are stepping up. Even the older guys, the Teddy Bridgewater, he brought him in for a 6th-round pick. And Teddy, by the way, didn't just have a really good game today. On the season, Teddy's balling out, guys. He's on pace for his best year by far. Is going to blow away his touchdown record. Has 14 touchdowns right now. What's his high is 15 touchdowns. He's going to smoke that out of the water. And then you're talking about all these young guys that George Payton brought in. And so that is not only huge for the Broncos to get this dominant win, but also the way you look at this team now is so encouraging.
Absolutely. And I during the game, somebody in the Madden chat said, like, it was later on, they were up 30-0 or something. It's like, wow, just imagine if this team had Justin Fields. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
They might not have even won this game.
Yeah.
Like, no, this team is working the way it is. You got Patrick Surtain, like, all that offseason
Pat
stuff.
Surtain,
Like,
another one who you add to the list of guys who played well today.
absolutely. And it's just so nice to be. I mean, last week we talked about this. You're 4-4. You're in the playoff hunt. That's the way that football works. If you're 500, there's 7 teams that make it in out of 16. You're absolutely in the playoff hunt. 5-4, it's just undeniable. Like, you're talking about the playoffs. You're not talking about off-season stuff. And that's just the way it should be at this point in the season in Denver. And it's a lot of fun to be here.
Playoffs?
Yeah.
Playoffs!
It is absolutely unbelievable how much one game can change everything. And this is something I've mentioned on the Broncos podcast throughout the week is, look, no one feels great about the direction of this team right now, but they have bought themselves the opportunity to figure it out on the fly by winning 4 out of the first 8 games. And I don't know if they magically figured it out today. As I talk about this a lot, how football creates random results because all it takes is a good game plan and a little bit of momentum for really anyone to beat anyone on any given Sunday. I mean, the Jaguars beat the Bills today. Like,
Wild.
Think about that. That is a lot of people's worst team in the league beating a lot of people's best team in the league.
Josh Allen picked off Josh Allen. Josh Allen, I think, sacked Josh
Allen.
Allen. And Josh Allen had a fumble recovery off Josh Allen. How about that?
Pretty wild.
How about that?
No one would have predicted that Josh Allen to
Nope.
get the better of
Yep.
that Josh Allen.
Yep.
We normally don't hit super chats in the first segment here, but this one is special. A $50 super chat
DTL.
from DTL. He says, so can King of the Game be someone from the other team? If so, should be that bad Dallas luck. If not, I guess the defense was okay too. Wow, not the best vibes for a $50 super chat. The Broncos beat the shit out of the Dallas
did.
Cowboys today. Now, did they get a couple good bounces, including maybe one of the best bounces I've ever seen?
For
Yep.
sure.
A blocked punt that results in a first down.
Yep.
That's about as good as it gets. But
So the luck was there, Ryan, but then what did they do? That was a 3 and out. Then the the punt was blocked, but then they went and marched it down the end zone,
Yeah.
got a touchdown. So they there was luck, but then they capitalized off it too.
good teams take advantage of their luck, and that was absolutely what they did today. But, like, let's say, I mean, yes, momentum is huge, and it was a 16-0 game at that time.
Yep.
So they block that punt, and it goes towards the end zone, and they recover it. It could be a totally different game.
Yep.
But there's nothing that would tell you that the Broncos couldn't have gone and ran the ball right down their throats again, and they couldn't have gone and got a 3-and-out the rest of the game. Like,
Yep.
the facts show that the Broncos were far and away the better football team today. And like I said, it was on the backs of young, exciting players. And all of a sudden, guys, they're 5-4, a half game out of first place in the vaunted AFC West. How unreal is that?
It's wild, and guys, today's just blowing my expectations out of the water. Obviously, I didn't think the Broncos were going to win, and I also thought every other team in the AFC West was going to win. The Raiders are the only other team that's played so far. They lost. You have the Chargers, who just failed, I think, a 4th down conversion to score a touchdown there in Philadelphia. And then, of course, you got the Chiefs playing at home. This is a huge opportunity, guys. The Chiefs are the only team in the AFC West without a winning record. How
It's time
crazy
to start
is that
scoreboard
right now?
watching.
Yep.
You know, we've got, I'm not sure if that Ravens game has ended yet, but that's a big game. You know, Ravens are 5-2. They slipped to 5-3. They're a half game in front of the Broncos. You know, obviously the Chargers in the division, that's even bigger. But you just get to watch all these games, and they have implications for the Broncos, which is so much fun. And what's even more fun is that down the stretch, you've got 8 more games, 5 of them against division opponents.
Yep.
Those are just going to be massive.
And on top of that, Hank, I said this late last week. I said the season to me doesn't start until the Broncos either lose to a bad team or beat a good team.
Yep.
Because we just, if it was going to go down that route, the Broncos are going to be 6-11, and it was going to be so predictable. They just beat a damn good team today, and they dominated them. So, guys, this gives you hope, too, going down the stretch that, okay, the Broncos do have a really tough stretch after the bye. Next week, they get to host the 3-5 Eagles. You like how that looks right now. You don't want to overlook it because the Broncos are only 5-4, but you like that. Bye week, and then, like you said, Hank, 5 division games against no losing teams. Going into this week, I was at least thinking, how are the Broncos going to pull off a majority of those? I mean, how are the Broncos going to win one of those, let alone a majority? Now there's a chance. Now they just did this on the road. They get more home games against these teams, too.
And I mean, on top of that, you're sitting at 5 wins. I think if you get to 9, maybe not 50% chance you make it in the playoffs, but I think that you're getting pretty close to that 50%. If you get 10 wins, you're going to the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely. And Hank, another reason why 9 wins might get you in is because you'll be beating some of these teams that you're competing with in the AFC West right now.
Absolutely.
Unbelievably quick reminder, we do super chats in the 3rd segment, so all of your super chats that roll in, we will eventually get to them. Don't worry, we will eventually go around to them. And just more reason to hang out. Again, crack a beer, come hang out with us. So here's my question to you guys. What the hell just happened? Because why did it, a lot of people kind of half joking, maybe some people serious, saying Vaughn was the problem. But why did it take Von Miller not being there for the Broncos to have a dominant pass rush? What happened today that made Kyle Fuller the corner that they're paying $10 million to? What happened today that all of a sudden Ronald Darby is playing, great football against Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb? What happened today, Zach?
And on top of that, what happened today for the Broncos offensive line, who was missing their starting left tackle, starting right tackle. Then at a point, they were without both of their starting guards, too, guys. Lloyd Cushenberry was the only offensive lineman to play the entire game who was a starter coming into this game. That is just incredible. And they were opening up holes left and right. What did we say? Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon have been doing great this year, but it hasn't necessarily showed up in the stat sheet because there just haven't been holes to run. That the offensive line opened it up, and what do we see? Javonte Williams, first 100-yard game. Melvin Gordon, 80-yard game. Broncos almost get 200 rushing yards. And Ryan, to answer your question, I think the players just said F you to everyone, including their coaching staff, and more importantly, including George Payton, and said, you don't believe in us? Okay, well, we're going to do this. And you just can't put a cost on that. You can't value that. And the Broncos, they could have folded today, and their season could have been over if they come out and get blown out, and then they lose to the Eagles next week. The season would have started and ended next week going into a bye. You would have been talking about coaching changes, quarterback change, everything. And today the players said, no, we're still in this season.
Honestly, I don't think all that much changed. And maybe that's a hot take, but you look at that Cowboys defense, you should be able to run all over that defense. You should be able to throw on that defense. And the offensive line
do a lot of things this year though that they haven't done.
Fair. But then Kyle Fuller, he made some good plays. He also got torched on a 3rd and long that should have been a touchdown, but Dak overthrew CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, that was also
and there were a bunch of those missed throws from Dak today.
That was a broken play, though. Sometimes you get torched when the quarterback breaks the pocket, and all of a sudden the route that you have covered is a new route.
But whatever happened, and he had 3, 4, 5 yards of separation, and the throw was a miss, and there were a couple of those. And on top of that, I mentioned it this morning, but I'm not all that high on the Cowboys. I think that you look through what they've done. They've won close games, and they've beat up on some really bad teams. But, I mean, their marquee win right now is 20-17 over the Chargers. It's a good win. And they're 6-1, and in the NFL, you are what your record says you are. I guess 6-2 now. But to me, that defense is just so bad that I said before, I think it's comparable to what the Giants put out there and the Jets. And so when they put up similar points to what they did there,
I think I think you're on to something about the Cowboys being overrated, but this was an average Cowboys defense. It wasn't a team that you could just slice and dice and then talk about the other side of the ball. The Cowboys offense, the best in the NFL. And when it mattered in this game, guys, the Broncos held them to 0 points. And Henry, the Broncos did get some luck, but by Dak having some missed passes. But
and a couple drops.
But Dak was just flustered the entire game because the pass rush. I think the Broncos only had a couple of sacks. Yeah, they only had 2 sacks, but the pass rush was there. Dak was so uncomfortable. So the Broncos had to play. He broke a ton, and the Broncos had a reason why he wasn't getting lucky.
The Broncos haven't gotten pressure on the quarterback like that in years. Not even Von Miller and Bradley Chubb got consistent pressure like Jonathan Cooper and Stephen Weatherly did
Not even
today.
Malik Reed was out there. He wasn't out there. And guys, what's happened since Von Miller hasn't played? Jonathan Cooper took off at the second half of that Cleveland Browns game. Last week, Malik Reed does what Vaughn did not do this year and ended the game with some strip sacks. And then what do we see today? Jonathan Cooper is the one who steps up double-digit sacks today. Or no, multiple sacks. That's what I mean.
And I'm all
Jonathan
aboard.
Cooper also like inches away from a 4-5 sack game.
Yep.
For sure. And I'm all on board the Jonathan Cooper hype train. Also, their all-pro starting left tackle was not playing.
Yeah.
And so there's all those little things where it's like, yes,
Hank, why are you
there's
taking
hype.
us back?
I know.
Jonathan Cooper, he's a rookie.
For sure,
7th
yeah, and I'm
round
saying
pick.
I'm hyped. But also, like, what happens when you're up against these guys? Is this team now the number one team in the NFL? No, like, they were able to beat a team that a lot of people thought was a good team, and 30-0 in the fourth quarter against anybody is really impressive. So I'm
It's
hyped.
more than they were up against the Jets.
They did
For sure.
something that they weren't able to do, though, and that's beat a team with a winning record and a team that was 6-1. Guys, the only two teams to beat the Dallas Cowboys are the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Bucks and the Denver Broncos.
Feels nice.
And I told you this week, and I wasn't as low on the Cowboys as Hank was, but I told you this week I was watching some ESPN debate show, and their debate was who's the best team in the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys or the Los Angeles Rams. Those were the only two options. And I said, I don't think they're that good. But I also didn't think they were as bad as they look today. So an absolute beatdown. And this team, well, let me just ask you this. What, scale of 1 to 10, how much did trading Vaughn impact this game?
I think it impacted it because if you don't trade Vaughn, then there isn't the players getting together and saying F everyone except for us. Let's rally around. It felt they played like they had a players only meeting this week, and we haven't heard that they did. But that's the kind of fire that we came out, and I don't think we see that if they have Von Miller. So it's crazy to say, but this game, I'm not saying for the future of the rest of the season, but this game, the Broncos had an addition by subtraction.
I don't know if I can go that far.
Give me a number.
I don't think they come out as fired. I don't think this defense is fired up, guys. The way Vic Fangio was on the sideline, I've never seen him like that before, and look how much that benefited the team.
A number.
Of what? How many points?
Just scale of 1 to 10. 10 is the whole win is credited to the trade of Von Miller.
No, it's not that. I'll go 5. I think it played a big part.
I think it's pretty neutral. I think that you have like the new coach game effect, like something similar to that is valuable and it does fire the guys up. But I also think that you're missing Von Miller, and that is going to nullify a lot of it.
But that's what I'm saying. Just for today's win, though.
For today's win, I think it's definitely more valuable. Going forward, you probably see that part fade.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
So number?
Like a 2.
Okay.
1, 2.
You going 10?
I'll go the highest. I'll go 6.
Okay.
Again, these things aren't permanent, and I think you mentioned that a little bit, Henry. Like, it doesn't last forever. The Broncos aren't a better football team without Von Miller. I think we can agree on that. But there is something to everyone looking around, and sometimes you have the he's got it effect, right? Like, sometimes you watch the Nuggets, and and for good reason, everyone stands around and says, yeah, Yoke's got this. And I think there could be a potential of that with the Broncos and Von Miller. Like, you expect him to make a big play. No one was expecting someone else to make a big play today. They were expecting themselves to make a big play. And so, again, it's not Von Miller's fault, as, some columnists around town have tried to say that, Von Miller not playing great was the reason why this team wasn't good. And I'm sure they'll double down on that today. It's the idea that I have to go be Von Miller today. That's what Stephen Weatherly and Malik and Jonathan Cooper are thinking. Maybe not in those words, but I got to go be the star. I got to go rush the passer today. I got to go make big plays today. And they just did. So, again, you're going to have to find something new next week, probably, to motivate you. But the fire that this team came out with was us against the world. All we have is each other. And I've got to go be the star today. And each and every one of the guys, I can't point out a player on the defense who didn't have a good game.
No, absolutely not. And guys, we got to hand out helmet stickers. But first, got to tell you about Chevalier Mortgage, because maybe some Broncos players, maybe even Vic Fangio's feeling like he needs to stop renting and buy a home after this win. And our friends over at Chevalier Mortgage can hook you up. Michael and Virginia Chevalier are excellent at what they do because their ultimate goal is to take the stress out of buying and refinancing, and they strive to give borrowers options with the full financial picture in their mind, and they're able to do that because Michael Chevalier is a certified financial planner, meaning that he has all the tools to look more than just beyond a mortgage rate for you. And so whether you want to refinance or buy, you got to give them a call at 303-257-6578. That'll hook you up straight with Virginia, or you can go to DNVRmortgage.com to get hooked up with what they've got going on. And on top of that, you will get a fun perk for DNVR listeners. If you go to DNVRmortgage.com, you'll enter to win a free DNVR shirt or hat when you do, and you'll also get set up with a free consultation to discuss all your options. So check them out over at DNVRmortgage.com.
Also want to let you guys know, next week, suddenly a massive game. What better way to experience it than the DNVR way? Of course, the ultimate package is the party bus package, meaning you come down to the bar at 10 a.m., you hop on the bus at 11 a.m. after you had a couple drinks at the bar. You can take to-go drinks, and then we take you to the DNVR tailgate, which is going to be absolutely a blast next week. Completely turned around all of a sudden. Could have been a dead tailgate. Now going to be maybe the tailgate of the year.
And also, I mean, talk about no-shows at the game. There's not going to be very many of them.
Very few no-shows, and that's exciting. So you'll come down to the tailgate. You'll go to the game. You'll have a blast. The bus will pick you up 30 minutes after the game, bring you back to the DNVR bar to celebrate the Broncos potentially being 2 games over 500 and either still in the thick of the playoff conversation, potentially tied for first place in the division is a potential thing right there. So you can do it that way, or of course you can just get your tickets to the tailgate. You can take your own transportation over there. Of course, DNVR members $5 off either ticket. So make sure you get your ticket set up for next week. I can't wait. I'm already counting down the days until next Sunday.
Yep.
It's a good place to be.
That's seven days, by the way.
Okay,
For
cool.
the countdown.
Okay.
Yep.
6.5. Really.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
While we're at that tailgate, we're going to be drinking a lot of Breckenridge beers.
Yep.
It's great stuff. We talk
seltzers.
about them a lot. So we had the CU tailgate yesterday before they beat Oregon State.
Hell of a game.
I had to swing by the Sports Fan where the tailgate is and go through all of the beer that's laid out there and try to pick out what to bring up to Boulder. Just so many great options. You really can't go wrong. Got a bunch of seltzers, got some of the IPAs, got some of the lagers. Really can't go wrong. They give us all sorts of great stuff. They make so much of what we do possible, including this stream, which is why we're talking about them. And they just make people happy, which is a cool thing to do. So if you're trying to find a way to celebrate the Broncos win tonight, maybe the Broncos Country Hoppy Pale Ale is the way to go. But definitely check out what Breckenridge Brewery has to offer, whether it's the seltzers, whether it's the beers, whether it's the food down at the farmhouse in Littleton. They support us. Let's show them how we can support them.
Absolutely, guys. I got to give a few personal shout-outs to Aunt Julie for stopping by.
Aunt Julie!
My parents,
believe-
Uncle
yep.
Dave, Aunt Grace, Aunt T. We had the whole Stevens crowd here. And you guys got to celebrate the games here at the DNVR bar. It is the place to be. And, guys, another game, another winning shot, thanks to Jonathan Cooper.
Yeah,
Brian, you spin it well.
I wouldn't take the credit. All credit to Jonathan Cooper. But you come down to the DNVR bar for the game. We spin the Wheel of Destiny. I came up with the spaces today. Me and Mitch, of course, down there, and I tried to go, more likely.
Yeah.
And one of them was Jonathan Cooper sack. He had 2 of them, and of course it hits. And I just love that the whole bar knows.
Yeah.
And so everyone just starts chanting, shot, 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 shot.
Well, I love it, too, because you have the initial cheer for the sack.
And then
people
realization.
realize that it was Jonathan Cooper.
He
and free
rolls
shots.
over and it's 53 and everyone loses their mind. Great time down here. And shout out to Jonathan Cooper for that.
Yes, absolutely. And guys, we're giving Jonathan Cooper credit. Let's hand out some helmet stickers right now. And we may have to go speed round.
Before we go helmet stickers, let's give out our DraftKings King of the Game. The ultimate helmet sticker. You get a crown on your helmet. And there it is, Javonte Williams. Honestly, I didn't know who to go here. There were so many options. You could have gone Jonathan Cooper. You could have gone, Teddy Bridgewater. You could have gone Tim Patrick.
So many people.
There's so many options, but I think Javonte really set the tone. Like, I feel like what Javonte did to their defense is what the Broncos did to the Cowboys today.
Right.
Which is just running through them, embarrassing them, carrying them.
Killed them.
Pushing them around like a 16-pound ball through pins.
Yep. I mean, Javonte was carrying the Cowboys defense time after time, had another angry run. Kyle Brandt will be celebrating that later this week. What a beast. I mean, guys, 2 or 3 Cowboys were on him 10 yards down the line of scrimmage, and he broke free of both of them, and Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams were falling forward for 6 yards apiece today. It was incredible. And then Javonte, this was the first game that we've seen a full game from Javonte where he not only had the big plays, and he had many of them, but his bad plays were 5 yards. They were 6 yards. I mean, that is just incredible, really showing his potential. And so, guys, 3 game balls were given out from Vic Fangio. We only do one DraftKings King of the Game. 3 game balls were given out. One of them was Javonte. The other 2, I don't think you can guess.
Oh, Dalton Reisner.
No.
Pat Shurmur.
No, but think along those lines for one of them. You know, not wearing shoulder pads in this game.
Okay, not wearing
And Vic
shoulder.
did not give him to himself.
Now, George Payton.
No.
Oh.
George has already got one. Think about connected to Javonte.
It's Curtis Modkins?
Boom. There's
Wow.
one. Because not only did Javonte Williams have his first career 100-yard game, Melvin Gordon also goes for 80 yards, and the Broncos offense goes for 190 rushing yards, and that includes the kneel downs at the end, so nearly 195 rushing yards from the Broncos.
Crazy.
On a 4.6 yards per carry. So, well, we'll get to him in a second. The other game ball, think of like the guy you would have never thought of coming into this game, and not young.
Kyle Fuller.
Boom. Bingo. Kyle
That's
Fuller.
Wow.
With a
Honestly,
game
I
ball.
love that.
Yeah, me too.
I love that. You know, Vic Fangio has not been easy on Kyle Fuller.
No.
Not at all. And he hasn't been afraid
That's
to
his
criticize
guy.
him.
Yeah.
And that's a guy that, he brought in. Kyle Fuller had to take his medicine on the bench
Yep.
for multiple weeks.
Yep.
He gets an opportunity today due to injury to Bryce Callahan, and he goes out there and balls the hell out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love Vic Fangio rewarding that.
Yep.
And making sure that he knows, look, this wasn't personal.
Yep.
You weren't playing well. I had to take you off the field.
Yep.
You're back. You played amazing. Here's recognition. And I bet you the veterans in that locker room really rallied around him after he got that game ball and congratulated him.
Yep.
Everyone's happy for that guy. And if the Broncos are going to make a run, which I cannot believe I'm saying.
Don't apologize for it.
I won't. He's going to be a part of it.
He is. And guys, how about this? Not just a guy that was benched, but 1 week ago, everyone, rightfully so in Broncos country, was saying, dump him. Get a conditional 7th-round pick, and you're probably going to have to pick up some of his salary too, but get him out of here. He's bad just even on the bench. And then he comes out and proves everyone wrong. The Broncos are stuck with his money the rest of the season, but if he plays the way he did today, it's great money.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that if there were offers, they would have taken him. Like I bet there's some GMs
Probably
sitting
true.
there who
Yep.
saw today.
Yep.
Speaking of
And we're
offers,
like, wow, I really should have said yes to that. What was I think? I feel dumb now.
Yep.
Speaking of offers, came out today. The Broncos had an offer for Teddy Bridgewater. I have to say, as of this morning, I disagreed with their decision to not take that offer.
Because
Now-
you were done with this season.
Yeah, I mean,
You don't trade Teddy if you still think you have a chance.
Right. I mean, I just thought, look, you got to be honest with where
Right,
you are as a
right.
team. You've beat 4 crap teams. You've lost to all 4 legit teams you've
Yep.
played. Take what you can get. And now it depends on the offer. If it was a 6th-round pick,
Right.
no.
Right.
But if it was a 2nd, a 3rd, if I was the GM, I probably would have taken it. I would have been wrong.
Yep.
Because now the Broncos have a winning record. They're a half game out of first place. And all of their goals are on a platter in front of them.
Yep.
All they have to do is play like they did today, and they're gonna reach their goals.
They were
Yep.
just so good in the trenches, both sides of the ball. Like they were just manhandling the Cowboys up front on both sides of the ball. And if you can keep that up, and you should be able to against the Eagles, you should be able to in both games against the Chiefs. Who knows about some of the others, but that's what this team was supposed to be all along, and that's what we saw today.
And that's why I have to give a hat sticker to Vic Fangio because, boy, he was fired up, and I think that bled over to the players as well. The
Finally.
first time. Yeah, exactly. Finally. Where have we seen it? But we see the huge fist bump, and he's screaming, and he's cussing, and in all the right ways. That bled over, and
I was
Hank
also screaming and cussing in all the right ways.
and Hank, so was Andre on the tailgate, too.
He
Holy
did a
cow.
lot. Yeah. I think he scared the Stevenses.
And he
I'm sure that's going to be a topic of the Stevens dinner table later tonight.
and guys, the offensive line and the defensive line were decimated. You didn't have your top 3 starting outside linebackers at the beginning of the season. You didn't have your nose tackle. You didn't have your 2 inside linebackers. And what did Vic Fangio get that group to do? He got them to play inspired football. So just an absolute incredible job by Vic Fangio on the X's and O's, but more so, I think, beyond football. It's the first time we've seen Vic Fangio step up to the plate in that way. Just wish he wouldn't have had that one challenge call. But other than that, fantastic.
Because they beat them so badly, he gets the benefit of the doubt from me today. I think he wanted timeout there. He didn't like the look. Throw the challenge flag, you get a double timeout.
I didn't crush him because at that point in the game, might as well. And so I'm not so upset about that.
I'll be curious to see if he said anything after.
Real quick, before you guys keep going, Cowboys fans in the chat, if you want to talk football, you're welcome here. If you're going to be trolls, I'm going to put you in timeout or I'm going to block you.
Let's
I don't
block
know.
them all.
You get
Block
the
'em all.
advertisement, but I don't know how you guys can be
Broncos
trolling
postgame
right now.
Wash them the hell out of here like
It's a
Dalton
Broncos
Reisner was doing
postgame
with
show.
their linebackers.
You can go find a Cowboys postgame show if you want. If you want to talk football, you're welcome here. If you're going to be a troll,
Block
you're done.
them all.
Also, thank you for the views. We really appreciate it. Good luck. Good luck.
And just like that, the Philadelphia Eagles tie it up with
does that hurt a little
with
more,
the Los
Cowboys
Angeles
fans?
Chargers. Yeah.
Little Eagles touchdown.
Falcons are looking dangerous.
Oh, you know what
next
else
week,
happened,
too.
Cowboys fans today? The Giants won.
They did.
It's a tough day for you guys. Just hang in there. You'll be all right. Okay.
But hang in on this stream.
Hang around. Just don't be assholes. Okay. Let's go rapid fire helmet stickers. This is like Oprah out here. You get a helmet sticker. You get a helmet sticker. You get a. Normally we have a limit. There's no limit, so just keep it rolling. Go.
Javante. Have we done? King of the game counts.
Yes.
So I'll go Melvin.
All right, Melvin gets one.
What a day.
He
Got
was-
the touchdown. Was running so hard.
He's so efficient.
Yep.
What I love about Melvin Gordon. I'll give Teddy Bridgewater. Big time plays. I thought there's a couple turning points in this game. One of them is the sidearm, perfectly feathered third down throw over the outstretched hand of the linebackers right into, I believe, Tim Patrick's hands on the sidelines.
Yep,
and then on the very next play, he feathers up another one down the sidelines, beating Trayvon Diggs, super overrated cornerback, and getting himself a touchdown. Those 2 back-to-back plays give the Broncos a 2-score lead, and to me, really opened up the game for the Broncos. If Vance Joseph was here, he'd be saying, see what I'm talking about? You play with a lead, it changes the game. And I think that really did change the game. But of all the throws Teddy made, the slant to Kendall Hinton late in the game, great throw. That little feathery sidearm pass to convert that first down on, I believe, 3rd and 8, to me was the best play he made all day. Early, the game was still in the balance, and that was a game-changing play by him. And the type of things you just need from your quarterback. Can you just make a perfect throw in a moment when we need it? That's what he did there.
Yeah, he absolutely did. I'm going to go the other side of the ball, guys. Go with Justin Simmons. He stepped up again. It may be something with the T-shirt, joining the DNVR crew with his T-shirt, but last week he balled out. This week he continued it. How about in that first quarter when he had that huge tackle at the line of scrimmage on 4th down? The defensive line did a great job clogging the holes, and Justin came in and, like you said, stuffed them and absolutely cleaned it up. And, man, that's when you really felt, okay, Broncos defense is here to play, and they were. Cowboys 0 for 4 on 4th downs and 1 for 8 when it mattered on 3rd downs. And Justin Simmons was a big part of that. And there is the beautiful shirt that is backed by Justin himself.
It's honestly one of the most just well-crafted designs I think we've ever done. Just so many nice little details to it. Even down to, that's what Justin does after he makes a big play, holding up that finger.
He was holding up that finger a lot today.
This is that's a beautiful shirt. So head over to DNVRlocker.com if you want to get in on that. All right, keep them rolling. Zach, what do you got?
I'll go with Tim Patrick, guys. I mean, talk about we already knew this, but a legit starting stud. NFL wide receiver. Guys, Cortland Sutton, I had to make sure that he was still playing this game because he was non-existent in this game because it was Tim Patrick and Jerry Jeudy absolutely taking over. Cortland Sutton was on the field the whole time, but it's not like Tim Patrick was just wide open. No, he was creating his own separation, got the Broncos on the board with that huge touchdown at first. Teddy threw it up, trusted him, and he did a great vet move of finding that 1 yard of separation when he needed it at the very end. Tim stepped up, so happy to see that he's okay because Broncos were dropping like flies left and right. Having another injury to the wide receiver position would have been brutal, but Tim's okay.
Yeah, I mean, the dude is just a baller. Like, I don't know any other way to put it. In basketball, you'd call him a hooper, right? He's just that like Bones Highland is just a hooper, right? He just basketball is just in his blood. That's what Tim Patrick is. He's just a footballer. I don't even know what to call him, but like he's a football player through and through. He's a dog. Maybe that's the best way to describe him. He's just a dog. Like he's a guy that everyone on the team loves because he goes out there with full effort every single week and he gives them a little edge. He talks his shit when he needs to, and he's just a guy. Like every team needs a guy like this, but that almost undersells how good he is. He's not your like sixth man. No, he's a legit NFL receiver. Could be a 1 or 2 for many teams around the NFL. So absolutely deserving. All right, I'm going to start naming off a bunch here because they all go together. Let me know if I miss any of these. Calvin Anderson, helmet sticker. Bobby Massey, helmet sticker. Graham Glasgow, helmet sticker. Lloyd Cushenberry, helmet sticker. Dalton Reisner, helmet sticker. Cameron Fleming, helmet sticker. Quinn Miners, helmet sticker.
You got him.
Is that all of them?
Yep.
7 offensive linemen played for the Broncos today.
Yep.
Unbelievable effort from all of these guys. And maybe it's too tough to give out a number one. The ones that I most appreciate today are, of course, Calvin Anderson.
Yeah.
And Dalton Reisner. Dalton, like, at a certain point in the game, they were like, let's just get Dalton out on the move and let him start mauling people. Mm-hmm. And he just did it. Like, play after play after play. He's just coming around on those pull blocks and just knocking dudes out of the play. And I think he was having so much fun with it, too. It is so... When Bobby Massey went down, I kind of did the, like, yikes. I had yikes face on.
Yep.
Because I was like, this could be one of those things that just unravels the offensive game plan.
Yep.
Not at all. Cameron Fleming, who, by the way, was a whipping post in training camp. I was very worried about him. Comes right in. Barely noticed him, other than making nice blocks on run plays.
Yep.
So good for him. Good for all of those guys. And I guess Mike Munchak also gets a visor sticker in the group there. Absolutely fantastic job by the offensive line today. And I've seen a couple of people mention in the comments, this game was won in the trenches, as a lot of football games are. And that offensive line, the defensive line, those guys are at least on the interior, you expect it from Shelby Harris, you expect it from those guys. You don't expect it from Cameron Fleming and Quinn Miners.
No.
And Calvin Anderson.
Yep.
That's what's so exciting. And it sucks that Netani Moody had COVID this week because it would have been fun to see him out there too.
Yep.
Like it was basically time to just put on highlight tape for all these guys.
Yep.
And they all went out there and they beat up on the Cowboys, and it's just so much fun to watch. And you just hope that that's a sign of things to come.
Yep.
And that they can keep this going. And those young guys, whenever it's their turn to get back out there again, that they're ready to do that full time.
Well, and you already mentioned Teddy Bridgewater, but guys, the Broncos had every reason to get blown out in this game. From trading Vaughn to all of the distractions to now having so many guys out on COVID to even this morning, Drew Lock being ruled out because of COVID, being a close contact, then testing positive. Teddy Bridgewater could have tested positive as well because you're damn sure he was around Drew Lock a lot over the past 24, 48 hours. He had that distraction, didn't know until right before the game, a couple of hours before, that he was cleared. So that's another reason why he could have had that huge distraction surrounding him and the offense. And you know what the Broncos said to every single excuse they could have had? They said, F that. When injuries started piling up before the game, they said, we don't care. When injuries started piling up during the game, they said, next man up. So huge kudos to the leaders on this team, which was a big topic of conversation this entire week. Vaughn's gone. Now it's your team, is what George Payton said to the rest of the captains. And those guys stepped up huge.
All right, I think we maybe have mentioned a couple of these other guys, but I just want to start naming these guys off too. Justin Simmons, Kareem Jackson, Kyle Fuller, Pat Surtain, Ronald Darby, Caden Stearns.
Of course.
Caden
That-
Stearns with the pick.
is
Close
that
pick
all-
Should
6
have been
too.
another. Oh,
Is that all 6?
Nate Hairston.
Nate Hairston
Yeah.
gets one as well.
he had a
Yeah.
big play.
That secondary, again, you talked about every reason to get blown out. That secondary has not played up to their abilities this year. And when you look at this receiving core for the Dallas Cowboys of Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, and you're saying, even like Cedric Wilson, you're saying like, man, this is the type of team that might go ahead and just go off on this secondary and almost like put them out of their misery, right? Like they were like a wounded animal.
Yep.
And instead, they, got their asses up off the ground and punched right back on the best passing attack they've seen all year.
Without a doubt.
And so every single one of those members of the secondary gets a helmet sticker for me.
And then how about this? I'm going to go inside linebackers as well. Kenny Young and Baron Browning. Guys, just their second game starting alongside each other. Had all the excuses to be bad and to just not play up to it, and they did great in the pass game. They were taking away the short stuff, and then the run game, just not letting Zeke or Tony Pollard do anything. Baron Browning ends the game with the second most tackles on the team. Kenny Young comes in at 5th. Those guys were making big tackles at the line of scrimmage as well, and they really forced the Cowboys to just not run the ball. When the Cowboys ran the ball, they averaged 4.9 yards per carry, but the way this game was, the Cowboys just had to surrender to it.
After the Packers missed a field goal, unfortunately, to take a lead, Patrick Mahomes, interception.
The Chiefs are not good.
They
No.
are having
They are not good.
one hell of a time.
They're not, and they're worse than the Broncos right now. How about
Oh,
that?
sorry. It was never mind. Not an interception. It was a stop on 4th down, I believe.
Oh.
Also, speaking of stops on 4th down, the Eagles also just got another stop on 4th down.
Was it in the red zone
Wow.
too?
I don't know.
No, it wasn't
was
in the red
A
zone.
little outside of the red
little
I've
zone.
still got
outside
some more
the-
helmet stickers I got to throw out
Keep
there.
'em coming.
I mean, Jerry Jeudy,
Yep.
the one catch, whoosh,
Yeah.
they
Great
pulled in
play.
like that.
Great
Can you do that
catch.
sound
I
again?
mean, but yeah, I mean, he was 6 catches, 69 yards. I mean, that should be his game in, game out, and he did it today. He moved
did.
the sticks. Albert O, he had a couple of nice catches where he carried the ball across the line to gain.
Yep.
And it's just so nice to see that, just keeping the offense moving. Kendall Hinton
Yep.
gets in
Oh.
there.
Yeah.
He gets his one target. He makes a big play. You know, the defense isn't ready for him. They don't know who Kendall Hinton is, and he blows by, catches the ball, picks up 40 yards. That's his role in this offense. His role isn't to catch 3 passes. His role is to catch 1 pass and make it memorable. 1 for 40, that's what you want from him. And all these guys just checked all the boxes. It was that's
Just
fun.
to make sure we get him in, Melvin Gordon as well, guys. He just so consistent. I don't
got
know if we
2. I
gave
think
it to
we got him
him.
already.
He got
He
it
deserves
already. The running game, guys, incredible. The Broncos hadn't had 160 yards today, and now they end up with 190 during this game. And guys, the magic number pretty much held up. The Cowboys averaged 167 rushing yards in their wins. They were held to just 78 yards today. That's the key, and the Broncos did it. And they're going to need a big performance again in their run defense going up against Philadelphia next week.
Absolutely. My goal was to get a helmet sticker to every single Bronco who played today. Is there anyone that we're missing?
Yeah, we want to
mean-
give one to Barrington Wade.
He played.
Yes, he played. He had a tackle. We want to give one to Jonas Griffith. Jacob Bobenmoyer.
Wow.
Yes.
he made a little play. Draymond Jones, I think we gave it to the defensive line, didn't we? Shelby Harris.
no,
he
Shelby
did.
and Draymond,
That's where
there
I
you go.
wanted to go. Shelby Harris,
Deshaun Williams,
Shamar
as well.
Stephen.
Yep.
I mean,
Shamar
all those
Stephen.
guys. Like Shelby Harris, how many times did you see him just chasing
Hey.
Dak in the pocket? And it's
We've
like he
got-
never actually got him down,
Right.
but he was the one who's forcing him on the run. All those defensive linemen.
We got Mama Stevens here coming
Yes,
in.
we
Total
do.
team effort. Shermer and Fangio called a great game. Love the energy watching at the DNVR bar. Love hosting, as
Thanks,
I called
Mom.
it, the family Stevens
Yes.
today. It was great having you guys out here, and thanks for the nice comment.
Now we literally got everyone. We got everyone that was
Mike
at the bar.
Ford? Was Mike Ford in there for a second?
Yes, he had a
was.
tackle.
Okay,
Very
Mike-
impressive. You want to keep going? No,
He
I think we literally got everyone.
Okay, good job to everyone. Everyone deserves a helmet sticker in a game like that.
No, Eric Saubert.
You
Eric
guys.
Saubert, nice.
Yes.
Did we say Mike Boone?
Did Mike Boone play?
Special teams tackle.
Hey.
Mike Boone, congratulations.
Cortland Sutton. He's one
Yes.
of the last guys
He
to
would have been the
mention.
last one.
Guys, crazy. One
Great
catch for 9 yards.
It was a great catch.
It was.
Picked it off his shoelaces.
Yep, it was.
All right.
Deontay Spencer for the returns.
Deontay
Yeah,
Spencer,
absolutely.
sure.
Kicker punter.
I think the only one who maybe doesn't get one is Tom McMahon.
Oh, wait, what about McManus?
Oh yeah, no helmet
tough
sticker for
5 quarters for him.
no helmet sticker for
Yeah.
BJ.
Just
Yeah,
frustrated
Anton
they didn't let him
McMahon,
kick
yeah.
the 67-yarder. What do you have a kicker like that for if
Yeah.
you're not going to let him try?
I
You're
would've
gonna
I
done
tried
I
to
would've
explain
loved
to
that.
Henry, if you can't hit it in warm-ups, they will never allow you to do it in the game.
Was he not hitting it?
I'm just
warm-up?
guessing.
Oh.
That- that's
like,
the reason why.
And my
Yeah.
thing is, we know he can do it. Like,
Do
I don't.
we?
Yeah, I mean, you see it in practice, and sure, it's in Denver, but Denver Dome, all that stuff. Like, I have faith that he can do it. I think we all do. I mean, we see it in practice
He
every
wasn't
day.
even
Training
mad,
camp,
dude.
he's knocking in the 70-yard.
No.
He was pissed.
When he didn't get this kick the
Oh my
65er
goodness.
in
He was
Denver, he
pissed.
threw his helmet, which I still haven't forgiven him for. One of the most ridiculous responses I've ever seen. He wasn't mad. He was just like, hey, yeah.
He looked
He
a
didn't
little-
think he could make it.
he looked a little
Wait,
frustrated.
one more. A hat sticker goes to Pat Shurmur
Yes.
for putting together a good game plan. And guys, how about some creativity? How many times do we see Jerry Jeudy run across the field, then behind the quarterback? I mean, at least we're seeing something.
He took that from the Alabama playbook.
Yep.
If you go
They're
back
doing
and
it all the
watch
time.
the national championship
Yep.
last year, it was Devontae Smith running that action almost the whole game.
Do you think Jerry Jeudy gave that to him? He said, come on, if you're not going to do anything creative, let's do this.
I would love for Pat Shurmur to go to a player like
Yep.
Jerry Jeudy and say, hey, what are some plays that you loved at Alabama? Let me look at them.
Yep. Yeah, I'd completely agree.
But I don't know. A lot of coaches don't have the whatever the opposite of ego is, humility.
Right.
To go to a player and say, hey, what worked for you guys in college? You don't have to use it. Just look at it.
Right. Yeah. And this is the Broncos' first 30-point game this season. They finally got it.
Finally got it. No defensive or special teams points or touchdowns.
No, none. They did it all themselves as well. Looks like the Chiefs just got a big play. Did you
did.
see what it was?
Think a
it
block
was a
kick.
turnover.
Oh, wow. A lot of those happening.
Thought it was a block. Maybe.
Jeez, my guy Mason Crosby's struggling. Okay. Let's move on here. Want to give a shout out to Hassel Cattle Company, the absolute best blue collar Wagyu beef. Why is it called blue collar Wagyu beef? Because you can get it and any man or woman can afford it. It's super affordable Wagyu beef, and it is so good that we put it in the bar. If you look down, I'm seeing 4 people
Yep.
eating
Right now.
Hassel Cattle Wagyu beef burgers as we speak right now. Might I recommend the Bronco burger on a day like today? It's got onion rings on it.
Can't beat
It's
it.
got Hatch green chili cream cheese on it, which everyone who's ever had it knows cream cheese on a burger is a vibe.
Undefeated.
And then a little drizzle of barbecue sauce on there, which is also delicious. Perfect burger for a perfect win from the Broncos. But really all of the stuff from Hassel Cattle Company is that good, whether it's their steaks. Best steak I've ever had when I made it at home. I recommend a little pan sear on there. Don't try to grill it. That's a rookie move that I have once made.
You got to keep the juices in.
Yes, exactly. Got to sear it up, keep the juices in. Great. But Hassel Cattle Company, the absolute best, and you can get 10% off when you use that code DNVR10. Also, free shipping if you go over $200. $200 is going to get you a ton, but $200 is going to be the amount that you want. So hit up our friends over at Hassel.
Speaking of codes, DNVR25 will get you 25% off over at StravaCoffee.com. Guys, my mom today went with the Strava and went with the Hassel. Great combo.
Wow.
And we put our stickers, our stamp of approval on both of them because we have the Hassel Wagyu beef here and the Strava craft coffee. But of course, if you can't make it down to the bar or just want to get it sent straight to your house, go to StravaCoffee.com to get the infused CBD coffee, which packs that 2-in-1 punch. Of course, you get the delicious coffee, and you also get the CBD, which can help relieve aches, pains, headaches, anything that's going on. It can help relieve. And also, if you use code DNVR25, you get 25% off your first order, and then after, subscribe to Strava Craft Coffee, and you can have it sent straight to your door for 20% off every single order after that. You can have it set up where it's delivered every 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks, however often you want. It'll show up at your door. So check them out at StravaCoffee.com and use that code DNVR25.
Henry, you were talking about how you got a profit boost today on your bet
Oh, yeah.
for the Broncos to win. How'd you get that?
So I just got an email this morning saying
From
that,
who?
From DraftKings Sportsbook.
Ah.
They said like you could get any of these different boosts. Just click on button, you'll see what you get. It said 25% boost, and I was like, okay, $50 max bet. Gotta put it to work.
I got a 50% boost.
Oh.
Not to one-up you, Hank,
they
but
That would have been
sweetened it
worth quite a bit of money today.
And that's just the type of fun that you can get over at DraftKings Sportsbook. The absolute best sports book all around. They hit you with the profit boosts. They hit you with the same game parlays.
Yep.
They hit you with the bet protection. All of anything you could want as a bettor is over at DraftKings Sportsbook. We really appreciate their support, and we appreciate their product. It's something that everyone who works here uses on a daily basis. Last night I had buffs and over parlayed.
Yep.
Goes to overtime, which saves me and ends up hitting. So it really makes, as I said this morning on the tailgate, like the only thing better than your team winning in double overtime is your team winning in double overtime and you hitting a plus 714
Oh
parlay
my gosh.
at the same time. It's just it's a thrill that you get from betting over at DraftKings Sportsbook. And this week, bet $1 on any NFL game. If either team scores a point, you're going to get $100 in free bets. It's guaranteed to happen.
Yep.
There hasn't been a 0-0 tie in the NFL since 1943. Which is basically the last time the Cowboys beat the Broncos, but a little more unlikely than the Cowboys beating the Broncos is a 0-0 tie. So check that out at our DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the code DNVR when you sign up. You can also get a sign-up bonus up to $1,000 when you do that. Of course, you must be 21 or older. Colorado only. Bonus comprised of a first deposit bonus and a first bet match, each up to $500. The deposit bonus requires a 25x playthrough and restrictions to apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
Thought you were going to get on one breath. You were so close.
Oh, I
You were
wasn't
so
even
close.
thinking of it.
The people really want the guy that picked up the punt to have a sticker as well.
Oh, who was that?
Dude, what was it?
Who caught the punt
Jonas
after it was
Griffith.
deflected? That was Jonas Griffith?
Yeah.
Number 50?
Yep.
Didn't we say his name?
Yep, we did.
We did.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
We gave him the credit he deserves.
Good job. Great. Congrats on your first helmet sticker, Jonas.
Yep.
All right, we have a lot of Super Chats to get to. Before we do that, Zach, do we have any injury updates?
No injury updates, and unfortunately, after the game, Vic said no injury updates because there's so many.
Yep.
There's just
Wow.
too many for him to compile in those 10 minutes.
One thing we do know, Bobby Massey's wife tweeted out, he won't return today, but he's fine. Thank you for all the
Okay.
prayers.
Okay, good.
So that's one that we got. Shout out, I believe her name is Angela.
Angela
thank
Massey,
you,
thank you
Angela.
for the
Helmet sticker to Angela.
yes, of course. Guys, the Broncos are going to have a really good problem on their hands. Who do they start on the offensive line? For good reason. Now, Bobby Massey coming into today has been their best offensive
Yep.
lineman.
Yeah, he keeps his spot.
So he keeps his spot. Calvin Anderson played better than Garrett Bowles today. He played better than Garrett Bowles has throughout the majority of the season. I
Yeah.
still think with the price tag, you're
Exactly.
putting Garrett Bowles in there,
Funny
but
how that works.
you
Especially
feel
this
great
season.
about your depth.
Especially this season. You know, at the end of the year, I think with that contract, you got to see if you can get off it. Is my stance.
Can't get
and
off
who
it
knows?
after this year.
I don't think so, but you definitely can't if you bench the guy.
I mean, you can
if
get
you
off
play
it
him and it's
by-
like,
by
oh no, he's
trading
fine.
him?
Exactly.
Oh.
Exactly.
There's a lot of teams who would convince
Yep.
themselves based
Yep.
on the Garrett Bowles body of work last season that
Yep.
he's an upgrade from what they have, and he probably
Absolutely.
is.
Yep.
Yep.
And you might not want to pull that trigger so fast. Obviously, you hope he comes back
Yep.
and plays well the rest of the season. Calvin Anderson, man, he started as kind of a meme,
Yep.
doing the sh emoji.
I asked him about that on Friday, why he's embraced it. And he said, because no one's ever believed in me. And so I grind, stay quiet. Guys, he showed up at Rice 240 pounds. And everyone laughed at him for thinking he could play tackle. Then what's he do? He transfers to Texas and starts for 3 straight years.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. Shout out Rice Owls.
Oh, the Owls.
Great mascot.
He was pretty much the size of an owl playing left tackle at Texas. 240?
That's
I'm pretty
really
much 240.
Not two of you is a 240.
the one injury on the offensive line that does look bad though is Graham.
Yeah.
And with them putting him in an air cast, you
Yeah.
don't like to make assumptions, but you could probably guess he's
You're
not
right.
going to be back next week.
Yep.
And so one of these guys is going to get that spot. It looks like it's probably Miners. Because you wouldn't
Depending on if
move
Mooty's
Anderson
out,
in,
yeah.
right?
Miners looked pretty awesome too. He did have a holding.
Yeah.
I think. Other than that,
He'll take-
he's grown a
he'll take
lot
it. Yep.
over the last 6 months since
Yeah.
he came into the facility.
That belly's looking good.
It's looking sturdy.
Yes, it is.
There's like floppy bellies and there's sturdy bellies.
Yep.
That one's sturdy.
Yeah.
It's got a nice sturdy belly.
And guys, one thing that's hurt the Broncos so much this year is they have a penalty, and this is what reminded me. They have a penalty, they get backed up 10 yards, and they're done. You might as well just punt on 1st and 20 because you're not doing anything. This year, or this game, no. Then the Broncos would hand it off to Melvin. He'd pick up 14 yards, and then you'd have a 3rd and 6 way more manageable, and then Teddy would be able to pick that up, or Javonte would go off for 10. And the Broncos, they didn't have that many times where they did that, but whenever they did, they capitalized on it.
Those plays are so demoralizing for the other team and the fan base. Remember,
Yeah.
you're on the road here.
Yeah.
And while there were a ton of Broncos fans, shout out to all the Broncos fans who made the trip. Our guy Alex, we know, made the trip.
Yep.
Of course, Spencer and Mitch were down there.
Yep.
So, DNVR was well represented down at the game, and Broncos fans were well represented. But when you can suck the air out of a stadium with, 95,000 people in it, Henry?
93.5 something,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
90
Second biggest crowd for a Broncos game, only to a Super Bowl.
Unbelievable.
What
Yeah.
Super Bowl was that?
I think it had to be either
At the Coliseum.
yeah.
It must be at the Coliseum.
No.
I don't know what.
Or did they play one at the Rose Bowl?
I was going to say
I
Rose
think
Bowl,
so,
maybe.
yeah. It had 103,000 there.
Sounds like Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, when you can have those, it's 1st and 15, and you gash them for even 9 to 11,
Yep.
all of a sudden the fans are like, oh my God.
Yep. You might as well just rip the opposing team's heart out.
And they did it time after time after time. Some big 3rd and long conversions. Just like a demoralizing, around every turn they did something that just hurt the Cowboys.
Hey, Ryan, I have to ask you, after today's performance, do you want Kellen Moore or Vic Fangio next year?
Kellen Moore got
Vic
absolutely
Fangio.
pushed around by
Yeah.
Vic Fangio
Yeah.
today. And, there's some Cowboys fans in there making excuses about Dak's injury.
Was he out there?
Was he running around and avoiding sacks
Right,
left
yeah.
and right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not buying it.
No.
Kellen Moore, embarrassed by Vic Fangio
Yeah,
today.
he was.
And he's young. That'll happen.
Yep.
And Vic Fangio, we needed to see that from him. Remember, I said it up this week. I don't want to see Vic Fangio, who's 30 years older than Kellen Moore,
Yeah.
get pushed around by Kellen Moore. No, he asserted his dominance today.
He did.
And he did a great job. Remember, they're also shorthanded. So it's not just the offensive line who was shorthanded. That
Right.
defense was
Yeah,
shorthanded
absolutely.
as well. So huge credit to them. All right, super chat time. What do we got from the people? First one from Court Nelson. Sign Tim Patrick to a 100-year deal and pay him whatever he wants.
And guys, Broncos have such an interesting decision. What do they do? Do they
Yeah.
pay Cortland Sutton? Do they pay Tim Patrick? Do they pay both? How do you build this? And also a big reason for this a big part of this conversation is going to be, what do you do at quarterback? Do you sign Teddy to, really expensive backup deal and then draft a quarterback? Then you can afford to pay a couple of wide receivers because you're not paying Jerry Jeudy big money next year. Or do you decide on one of them and let the other guy walk? Guys, right now, Cortland Sutton's maybe been the Broncos' best offensive player, second top 3 this season. But right now, Tim Patrick's a better value because Cortland Sutton's going to get, 16 a year. If you can get Tim for 8 a year, holy cow, are you getting an incredible steal?
And then you get the comp pick for Sutton, too.
Yeah.
And that's really the kicker. And talking
Yeah.
about Teddy, I mean, again, what was it? It would have been...
His numbers are so good on the season.
They're so good.
But, yeah. And his thing is, that you just can't... Today, he looked great, and so maybe I need to take this back. But a lot of it is, last week, what were his numbers? He was efficient. He avoided the turnovers. He has the 1 touchdown. So you can't expand that efficiency out to 30, 35 pass attempts and expect it to stay the same.
No, but it was. I mean, you just look at over the course of the season. Even when the Broncos have struggled, he's put up good numbers. And
Just not
the
volume.
reason I bring that up is if you're trying to negotiate with him after the season, you're gonna have a really hard time getting some
Teddy.
sort of bargain
Yep.
after he puts up far and away the best season of his career.
I mean,
'Cause-
you look at the contract he signed in Carolina.
18 months ago, he was 3 years, $63 million.
Yep, with 2 years guaranteed.
It's
yeah.
not...
And guys, how about Carolina?
a debate for another day.
It is.
Moving on to Sam Darnold and looking real not as good.
No.
Because Teddy, guys, on the season, 73% completion, 2,100 yards, 14 touchdowns, 5 picks. 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio almost.
He's on
That's what
pace
we
for
expect.
4,000 yards and nearly 30 touchdowns.
A passer rating
Is
of
it that high?
105. 105 passer
I
rating.
guess 4,000 it would be.
Close to it.
Yeah.
That
Unbelievable.
surprises me.
Yeah.
It's really surprising.
He's playing really good ball.
Really good ball. All right, what's next, Al? All right, from Steven Sholey. Let's effing go. Simmons set the tone, and the D followed. Love y'all, Broncos country, and go Grizz.
Hey.
Go Grizz.
Crazy that tweet you sent earlier about not wanting them to get game day.
Crazy. Sounds like me.
Still shook over that. Really got him with the tweet of shame. All right, what's next? From Logan Beaumont. Where them boys at? I have to say my favorite part of this day is all the Cowboy fans' tears I have collected from the various discords I'm in.
Yes.
Save those. Those will give you life later.
Yep, those are feeling real good right now. And
Yep.
so is a winning Broncos record, guys. Not only
Yep.
did they beat a 6-1 team, now they're 5-4.
Yep.
They're right in it, and I believe the Philadelphia Eagles just took the lead.
No.
Oh, no, they didn't? Oh, I thought I saw some celebration. My bad.
Had him.
Close,
He
though.
did.
He
All right,
did.
what's next? From Danny Kuhn. I'm shocked the Broncos offense scored 30 after that opening drive. What a turnaround.
Tell me about it. 3 plays, negative 10 yards on that first drive. It looked as bad as it could be, and then the Cowboys start driving down the field, and you're going, oh, no. But then the defense stands up. Justin Simmons stands up, just like our last comment said, and then, boom, it all turns from there. Broncos respond incredibly well, go down, get a score, go up, and then the lead just kept building.
You know, it's funny, Vic Fangio has talked in the past about how going for it on fourth isn't always a good thing. You know, he's like, oh, a lot of people want to make it out that it's always a good thing. And, you know, it's not always a good thing. Today will be a great feather in his argument about how going for it on fourth is not always a good thing. First 2 drives, right, for the Cowboys, they go for it on fourth, don't get it. They end up with no points on 2 drives into scoring territory. They don't score until garbage time.
Yep. I believe after the game, Vic talked about that and said if you don't get it when you go for it on 4th down, it's demoralizing. And the Cowboys were demoralized multiple times.
And you just think what could have been different? You know, if they just kicked those 2 field goals instead.
Yep.
And all of a sudden they're sitting there at whatever, 10-6.
Yep.
Who even knows? Because you don't have the short field to work with either.
And
But
momentum's not there at all.
For
You know,
sure.
Broncos don't have that momentum. Yeah, it's a
For
great
sure.
point.
All right, what's next? From Preston, the homie. Cowboys fans being obnoxious? You mean the Raiders of the South are salty? Wonder if they're still dem boys. Much love, DNVR, Alaska, Preston. Yeah, Cowboys fans right up there with Lakers fans as the worst there
Well,
are.
they're the same fans.
They are the
They
same
are.
They're also
fans.
Yankees
Yankees
fans.
fans, yes, of
You just
course.
bunch them into one.
Yep.
Yep.
And I know there's some Broncos-Lakers crossover. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Lakers fans, the worst in the world.
Guys, I maybe saw the most ridiculous sweatshirt ever. It was a half Dodgers, half Yankees sweatshirt. I couldn't believe that product is made.
That's so good.
God, that makes me mad.
I just don't get it.
Big,
Who are these people?
Right.
big super chat coming in here from Dylan.
Ooh, Dylan.
Wow, Dylan with
Wow.
the $50 super chat. Appreciate it so much. They're still undefeated in games I go to. So happy for the win.
Hey.
And on their Military Appreciation Day, loved the whole experience. Dylan, so glad you got to make it to the game. So glad you got to see a win. Broncos undefeated in your wins. They should be paying for you to go to every game.
They
They
should
should.
be, and thank you for your service,
Yeah,
Dylan.
thank you for
and
your
so
service.
cool that he could be out there for the game and still tuning in right after to us.
Appreciate it so much. All right. From Steve, we're going to the Super Bowl.
Let's go. Still a possibility, guys.
Just got to get in.
Still in the cards.
Get
Just
to
get
10
to the
wins
dance.
and you'll
Guys,
give yourself a chance.
The Broncos are only half game out, not only of the playoffs, but hosting a playoff game.
Crazy.
That's nuts. That's
is.
nuts.
I don't know how to quantify or qualify
No.
this.
yeah.
And that's with I guess there'll be a game out if the Chargers win. Right. Yeah. No, they'll only be half a game out if the Chargers win. So no
Yep.
matter what happens the rest of the day, Broncos are half a game out.
Don't worry, the Eagles will take care of it.
Let's go Eagles. Go Birds.
I hope so.
All right, what's next? Preston just hitting us with another one. Appreciate
We love
it.
you, Preston.
The homie. And then Brandon Peterson, my boys. I'm coming from Minnesota for next week's game. My first game ever in Denver after being a fan my whole life. And today's game has me so hyped. Hell yeah, Brandon.
yes.
Absolutely come and do the DNVR
Yeah.
party bus experience. I can't recommend it enough. It is the way especially for an out-of-towner to come in and experience the game. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, it's going to be so cool. And also, the game right before bye, you think that the Broncos should be more fired up than they were today, coming home in front of what should be a rowdy crowd right before getting a week off. And, guys, I have to imagine if the Broncos win next week, Vic Fangio is going to give them the entire week off because he's done that in the past. If not, he could keep them there till Wednesday. But the Broncos, I think, are going to be playing for a lot next week.
I love that. I hope he tells them before the game.
Yep.
Win, and you guys can be in Vegas by tomorrow morning.
Guys, today I don't think he'll be saying the Vegas part. I don't think he's going to be encouraging that. But today, guys, should be a see you Wednesday game. And that means that Vic yells that in the locker room, meaning that the Broncos get tomorrow and Tuesday off. I would give them an extra day off from the way they played today.
They absolutely deserve it. All right, what's next? From Drew or False, Andrew, we chatted about UNC basketball on Twitter the other day, but what about UNC football alum Pookie Williams? What a stud, go Broncos. I believe he's talking about Mace. Mace not here.
So, yes.
But yeah, Pookie was awesome today.
A beast.
Just, it felt like they could not tackle him. I mean, even on a couple of late runs, he gets, bounces off 3 guys and then gets pushed out of bounds. Like, they still couldn't actually get him to the ground. He is a freak when it comes to keeping his momentum moving forward.
Just need to get him a hole. And they did it today.
Yep. And you see what it is. On splitting the carries, splitting the reps, he still gets 100 yards.
111. Just an absolutely beastly performance. Bummed he didn't get the touchdown on that one. I think a review, if they had a camera angle, would have resulted in a touchdown for him.
Yep, I think so.
But what you needed to see is if his cheek hit the ground, and there was people on both sides. I don't know if there was a camera angle that would have showed it.
Yeah, there should be a cheek cam for sure.
We do need a cheek cam.
Good idea.
Maybe just a cheek sensor.
Right, exactly.
Just knows if it touches down. All right, I think that's one last super chat here, at least right now, from Duke Rose. Broncos fans at AT&T Stadium, incredible.
Yeah.
I saw some pictures. That place looked very orange.
It certainly did.
Especially like later in the game.
Yep.
Like when they all move down into the where the camera is showing.
All
and
the whiny socialites had left the game.
Exactly.
I've got 2 here that I want to bring up. They might not be super chats, but Nighthawk here saying Annie insulting the Broncos only made us stronger.
True. Yes,
that is a
course.
reference from the tailgate.
We had a comment on the tailgate this morning of a woman who said, I'm a Chiefs fan and my husband's a Broncos fan. Should I still marry him? And we're like,
wow.
The question is, should he still marry you?
Wow. Well, the Broncos are the better team right now.
Yes, they are.
And then last comment.
Last one from Kevin Church. Smash that like button. Couldn't agree more, Kevin. Appreciate you letting people know what to do on their way out. This has been an absolute blast and an incredible win for the Broncos. You can't say enough about this team today. Everything that they had going on this week, everything that they had going against them, including every person who picked the game, picking against them. And like you said, Zach, they just decided to come in and say it today and say F all that.
Yep.
And great for them. Everyone's happy for them, except for salty Cowboys fans, which is even better than people being happy for them. But appreciate everyone for tuning in, including the salty Cowboys fans. Hit us with a thumbs up. Maybe you guys won't, but that's okay. We'll survive. And get yourself that new sweet Justin Simmons shirt over at DNVRlocker.com. But for now, that wraps it up. One last shout out to MSU Denver on our way out of here. Again, you can work twice as many hours as students attending any other college institution when you go over to MSU Denver. So if you're looking to maintain a full-time job, get an education to hopefully get a better full-time job on the other side, there's no better place than MSU Denver. Appreciate you guys coming into the Winners Lounge, and we will talk to you tomorrow on the DNVR Broncos podcast.
Hold on.